They'll run it. Lloyd trying to bounce it. Reverses field. Hit the sideline. Lloyd down the sideline. Touchdown. Watch Williams. He may run this one. Here's Williams pumping, looking, taking his time all day to throw it. Buys more time. Sidearm throw. And it's caught. Washington across the field. Hits the sideline. Touchdown USC.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle. And we have a guest today, Coach B. You can catch him at BlueDVL21. That's BlueDVL21 on Twitter. I'm part of that crew who brings you the Gridiron Bullies all the time in the morning. I mean, it's a great space. Know your stuff before you step into that space, because you might not want to come back. But make sure you know. Make sure you do your research before you step up in there. But it's always good to have him on. And let's make sense of what this whole USC thing is going on right now. Let's just start. Let's just jump into the defensive pool and get it over with.
Right.
Because I don't want to mince words or whatever. I think the thing that's really I can understand the frustration from USC fans, because it's not like last year where you have to take a bunch of chances. You had to do all those things because they really didn't have the dogs on that team. Like, they really didn't. It was Mekhi Blackton, Kalen Bullock, and Thule, who's tearing it up for the Chargers right now, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like, they really didn't have those the depth pieces now. But now when people see all these new toys and all these depth pieces, they're saying to themselves, "Hey, why not? You go up 48-21. Hey, let's just play too high, and let's just have them run the ball underneath." The numbers show that the USC defensive line gets more pressure without blitzing than any other team in college football. Let those guys eat, and then just take it from there. They let all these things go awry. Quicksand started happening out there in Boulder, and next thing you know, the story isn't that USC is dominant, but it's they're suspect, and Shador and Deion are taking photo shoots after a loss.
Right. I mean, and I'm gonna be honest, man. I felt like we lost that game. I felt like I can't. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I've coached for the better part of 12 or 15 years now. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at, and being a defensive guy, right? I'm looking at the defense, and I'm saying to myself, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And honestly, that game, I looked at Lincoln. I had to reevaluate that game and look at Lincoln. Why are we not running the ball more? Seems like Austin Jones was nicked up. It seemed like Marshawn Lloyd kind of wasn't in the lineup as much as I wanted him to be in the second half. And we could have ran the ball a little bit more. Still, it's an early morning kick. It wasn't a primetime game. We didn't need Caleb to be all go. And I feel like that would have helped our defense. I feel like we put our defense back on the field too much in that second half. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that to me is like we're having drives that are lasting less than 2 minutes. And so what does that do for your defense, right? That's going to put them back on the field tired. Yeah, we're pinning our ears back. We were using that. The only thing I don't understand about our defense right now is our linebacker rotation. We're young in the secondary, obviously. With our DBs, our corners are young. Damani needs to get more reps. We're playing a lot of man with him. And then Wright on the other side, whoever we're using, it is not making, like, we understand we're young on the corners, right? We're Zion Branch. What's going on with him? Not really sure, because he could have got some time. Bryson Shaw is not a cover safety. We were losing him to cover a little too much in the slot, and they were winning. At the end of the day, they were winning. But our linebacker rotation in the secondary is really, really bothering me. Taggart Curtis, young kid, want him to play, want to see him grow, want to see him, develop. But we have studs in that linebacker unit, along with Mason Carr. Mason Cobb with Barnes, and so Rashawn Davis, like that kid is not getting enough snaps from me. We play best when he's on the field. The kid's a leader. He's shown it. So I would like to see our linebacker rotation get a lot better. I feel like that would help our D line out, help the secondary out. You know what I mean, in that spot.
And you're a defensive guy, so like clearly, like I don't like this whole thing. They're having some contradictory conversation that they have with the media. They say, "Don't make it even when you're trying to get playing time. Make it so you're way better than the next guy." Well, I mean, I think Tackett Curtis down the road is going to be a really good player, but right now I feel like he's being force fed to the Trojan family. Like what are we doing with that? Like, you have, I mean, Eric Gentry didn't get any snaps. If they run the football, Shane Lee's not getting any snaps, and then you got Rajon Davis, who must be perplexed because he's really playing the most consistent football out of everybody. So like, what does it matter? Like, I don't understand. Like, what it's not like the NFL where there's a situation where in the NFL where like, okay, I'm a Raider fan. I know if Jimmy G is going to, as bad as the Raiders are, if Jimmy G's making the most money, he's going to play. Like the person with making the most money is going to play. This is college. Like, why are we risking an opportunity to win a national championship playing people who are out of who could just not ready yet? And then you mentioned Bryson Shaw. Like I've kind of been through this with with John Gruden and I kind of notice it with other coaches. I feel like sometimes coaches grasp on the players who remind them of themselves. And I'm not sure why Alex Grinch is playing Bryson Shaw this much, but he's not that guy. I mean, you got to play the best athlete. You got to play the best player. Like, I mean, if it's Beavers, if it's Branch, like those guys should be on the field. Christian Pierce showed something in the spring game as well too. So like, why not jump on? Why not give those guys an opportunity to play as well? It is kind of clueless to me. The linebacking thing, I don't understand it. Nobody can explain that to me. It makes no sense. When you watched the game back, like what were some of the defensive breakdowns you saw in the game when Camp throws that touchdown pass to the backup tight end, I forgot his name, who went through all the injuries. Shout out to him for
McCree.
Drew Wolf got a touchdown.
Right.
Which good for him. Good for him because he's battled his whole life. So you can see him explode with emotions when he scored. But what was the biggest breakdown you saw in the defense? Because I know
defensively, it was calls. I felt like in the red zone, Alex Grinch wasn't dialing up. Like, I'm not sure why he's running cover 2 in the red zone, and they saw it, read it. It was really simple. You know what I mean? It's simple. The slot got right over the linebacker. They ran a post and hit the cover 2 where you're supposed to hit it in the middle of 2 safeties, right? Yeah. And then there's another one where he's running man in the red zone. I'm like, what are we doing? Why would you do this? A simple cover 4 concept. We can pass guys off. Guys know where they're supposed to be. Nobody has to really move. We can see it. You can see things coming. You would help out the guys tremendously if you do that. Simple cover 4. Let the guys sit down. You can have guys pass them off, squeeze. The alignments. It was just like, I'm like, what, Grinch? We're not getting, like, our D line is, like you said, we're getting pressure, which just 4, right?
Without blitzing, you can get pressure.
At the same time, help those guys out though too. Give them an opportunity to get home. Don't run stupid concepts on the back end where these guys are, where the quarterback's able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, stuff like that. I feel like sometimes Grinch gets in over his head. I feel like sometimes he will try to be too cute. Kind of like, so it's like, Lincoln does that on the offense side, but we have Superman at quarterback, so you can get away with it. Yes. You know what I mean? You can get away with stuff like that. Defensively, we don't have that guy on the back end, right? We don't have a Troy back there. You know what I mean? Even when Taylor was back there and he would be our eraser, we don't have that guy. We don't have an Adorio at the corner. We have that guy to do. We don't have these guys anymore, right? So we have we don't have the Clays, the old days of the depth and of old. That's gone, right? So we have to be great on defense on every play. Or our front 4 is doing that. I feel like Alex is not putting our guys in the best position to win on every snap. Right, Damani. I love Damani. I love him coming out of Modern Day. I felt like the kid can play. I think the injuries and him getting his mind, there's no real leader right now that has corralled him and brought him in and told him, young fella, just slow down. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to make every play. We know where you go to school. We know what the expectation is. You know what I mean? But we do, though. I mean, it's this is truth, right? But at the same time, you're not going to meet that expectation rushing everything. And that's what happened. This was happening right now. And I'm surprised Dante hasn't gotten his ears like, hey, calm down. Like, you're on the field. You're going to play. You're playing. Young
you're
fella,
not
calm
fighting.
down.
Yeah, you're the most talented corner, talented corner on the team. Like, you're not fighting. I mean, like, just do your job. I think also these corners don't, and just the defense as a whole, they don't use the boundary as that 12th defender at all. Like, so many times on the Scatterboo run where he ran over,
right.
like you just push him out of bounds. Like, I mean, like,
just push him. But we're trying to hit everybody. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Hey, this defense is not going to meet the expectations. We're not built to meet the expectations of a USC defense of old. What we do need to do, though, is be complimentary, right? We need to play complimentary football. And
they can be.
Right. But I felt like Lincoln has done that, right? Because when we thought about Lincoln coming over, right, it's like, oh, my God, we're going to be spread. We're going to throw the ball all downfield. Lincoln has made a concerted effort to run the ball. He's made a concerted effort to keep when we had Trav last year.
Yes, they ran the ball.
Him and Austin, they run the ball. I don't know what's up with Austin this year. He hasn't got a lot of snaps. Granted, Marshall has played well, but even through last year, it was kind of like you felt like it was running back by committee. And I think Marshall Lloyd has kind of grabbed the reins of the running back position and said, okay, it's mine. And he's going with it, right?
Yeah.
And so, but even still, Lincoln has made a concerted effort to be more balanced offensively.
This is good.
We're not being balanced defensively. We're not being balanced to the point to where saying, okay, let's blitz a little, back off, do certain things and mix up our coverages. Right now, we're very predictable on the back end. And we can't be predictable because sometimes our offense isn't going to work. Sometimes you can't predict injury. I believe we just didn't run the ball last week because Marshawn got hurt. I'm a firm believer in something happened, and you can see it because he got hit. I believe it was early third quarter, and he was like, actually late second quarter, and he was like, he got up slow. Then third quarter came around, and then every time he got hit, he got up slow. By the time the fourth quarter came around, he was limited in snaps.
So I mean, and that's the one thing about college which is tough. You don't get the injury updates that you do in pro football. But I mean, there is a Darwin Barlow. There is a there's a Quentin Joyner. Like, I mean, maybe you don't want to throw a freshman in that spot, but at least, I mean, Barlow, at least give him an opportunity to run the football. You're going up against one of the smallest fronts in college football on Colorado's defense and offensive line. You guys can just push them out the way. GT's count those dudes to death and get some yards and help. It's like he's gonna score 6 touchdowns. Like, Caleb's gonna do that. I mean, it's crazy to say that somebody's gonna do that, but he literally is gonna score 6 touchdowns, whether it's passing or running. Like this whole thing where we're like, oh, it's like I know you want to get the back-to-back Heismans, but like at what cost? Like, run the football, run the clock out. They really can't stop you.
Well, see, here's the funny thing to me. I thought he's already conceded the Heisman. I felt like Lincoln and him have had the conversation that we're not concerned about the Heisman. We're concerned about playing healthy. If you remember last year, Caleb played through every game. No matter who he played against, he played through every game.
That's
right?
true, yeah. Because
this year, what, Stanford? He's on a halftime. The San Jose State game, we played all three quarterbacks. We played all three quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
The Nevada game, Caleb's out of there. Like, you starting to see him like, nah, we're not concerned with you getting gaudy numbers. We're not concerned about that. So I feel like like I said, offensively, he's changed his mindset to say, this is what we're going to do. Even a lot of people laughed at me when they were like, y'all brought in Cliff. Well, why not? If they don't, people tend to forget, Cliff Kingsbury was going to be offensive coordinator before he went to Arizona, right? And then, but he knows the offense. Cliff understands the offense as a quarterback's coach. I felt like that move allowed Lincoln to have his eyes on the defense a little bit more. That's what I felt like that move was about.
And I also think that people just try to like mock the move. Like, Cliff Kingsbury, like, say what you want. Like, he still went to the playoffs with the Arizona Cardinals.
He did.
He is a good offensive mind. So
Offensive
like
mind. Yeah, absolutely.
having those two who know the offense and go back and forth, like that's nothing wrong with that. Like, I mean, people just try to clown everything SC does because brothers hate us because brothers ain't us. As I always say. So as far as that goes, some of the transfers came through have done well. Some haven't. I did see. I mean, Christian Roland Wallace. I mean, for him to play 90 snaps in that high altitude, I give him a lot of credit.
Right.
And I guess this week he knew he was going to play more. He really worked on a jug machine and it helped him. He got an INT in the game as well. So he's a guy who is gonna who's been maybe a veteran who can step into that cornerback room and help as well. You're seeing a little bit more on Brandon Shelby. Maybe that was because of the altitude or what, but he's playing well. I think one guy who I probably was a little bit disappointed in so far is Jack Sullivan, but I did think he was going to do a little bit more. Romello Height has been playing well. This whole defensive line has like really been meshing well together. I really like what I'm seeing, especially from Jamil Muhammad. He looks like that classic edge rusher in the NFL. Like he just
absolutely,
and he can really go get the quarterback.
Yep, absolutely. And I actually coming over, I'm not like, so I go back, what I say about the linebackers, like, so Shane Lee last year, very disappointed. I was disappointed because he would overrun plays. He'd be there, he just overrun the play.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
Right. He'd get out of position a lot. But the same thing I'm seeing from him, I'm seeing that same thing on Tucker Curtis. But with the D line, I thought that we were going to get, guys in trying to be aggressive. They come in with the mindset, oh, it's just the Pac-12. I played in the SEC. I did this. And these guys, like these D linemen, have been disciplined for where they're at. They've been playing very disciplined football. Yeah. They haven't overran the play. They've been hustling, right? Running down off the backside. Bear's been a stopper in the middle, right? Just an all-around stopper.
As advertised in every way. He's been great.
And then I had Georgia fans tell me, you're going to see why we kicked them off the team. Well, I'm glad you kicked them off the team at this point. Whatever. However that worked out, I really don't care. He's on my team.
Whatever. And also shout out to Solomon Byrd too, because Solomon Byrd has been playing great. I think Romello Height, his length has just been like, you can see the length. I mean, and like he's just been running people down too as well. So I give him a lot of credit as far as that goes. On the offensive side, obviously we're kind of reviewing through the first 5 games before the real season starts next week, next Saturday at South Bend, for the Trojans. Any concerns about Dorian Singer not meshing with Caleb Williams? You think it's going to be just a matter of time? I think when people saw the name Singer along with Williams, they thought it was just going to be Williams to Addison part 2.
Well, I think that's what. But so here's the thing. I think it is Williams to Addison's part 2, right? But I think that the one thing that people have to realize is that we brought in Addison last year. Addison's numbers were cut in half because Caleb we're concentrated on winning. And I think what I love is Lincoln is selling these kids on winning, not gaudy numbers, not anything, but just winning. Yeah. So if you can sell that, and that takes me back to the days of old, right? That 20 years ago. 2004, 2005, 03. We're bringing kids that we're saying, we're going to win here. Do you want to win? Your numbers will come, but do you want to win? I mean, Brandon Rice, you look at his snaps, he gets like money snaps. He just gets in the game, scores a touchdown, gets out of the game. You may not see him for like 10 more plays. Like that's just how it happens, right? That transfer. The only one who's really like making noise as a true receiver is Taj. But Taj has been doing that. Taj has solidified himself in the slot. He's okay right there. He doesn't want to do anything else, and he's winning in the slot. Dorian, I want to see more of him. I don't know right now what the situation is, because like last year I looked at Addison and I was like, he doesn't understand. You could tell he didn't understand the playbook. You could tell like the playbook, he didn't understand it. It wasn't because I think the year before it was, I'm going to get the ball no matter what, right? For Addison. When he came over to Lincoln, I don't think he got the play. I don't think he grasped the full playbook. It didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like Addison was committed on routes. It felt like there was something real herky-jerky about him when he was playing. But when he knew what was going on, he would gas you. Oregon State, He knew he was at the Oregon State. He knew he was getting the ball. When we played Oregon State last year, Addison knew for sure on this money down, Caleb's going to throw the ball at me against his cover 2 look.
At UCLA, the same
Same
thing.
Same thing, right? Dorian is just finding his way in, because here's the thing too: it's hard for these receivers to get into rhythm when you're not playing every snap, right? When you have so much depth and a big receiver room, right? We may not have the top 2 names in the country, but we have the best receivers in the country as a receiver room. Right, That's over Ohio State. That's over Washington. So anybody you want to put in there, nobody can go 5 deep like we can. Nobody in the country. And so when you 5 or 6 deep, but when you have all these receivers, somebody's gonna be missing out on snaps, right?
No question.
So I think that rotation is slowing Dorian down a little bit. But when he gets in the game, I feel like Caleb's making an effort to target him.
Yeah,
Caleb's making an effort to go at him. Money down, big play downs. Big shots. Caleb's going to him, right? And it's looking seamless, but it's just going to take time. It's going to take time for him to get there. It's going to take time for him to get that. That's my only thing.
Is it just me, and maybe I'm just nitpicking? I like the offensive line. I think they're getting better and better. Monheim is going to be. He made himself a whole lot of money,
right?
This year, no question about it. But at center, Didich and some of these snaps, I don't know. I just feels like it's always 1 or 2 a game. That's like, I'm so used to like just being automatic like last year.
Yeah.
Like he threw on he threw on when the sun don't shine. Last week, last week. But there's a couple of them been a little bit high. I mean, like and those are the kind of things where, like, let's be honest, in a big game, if they're down by 4 at South Bend and you're trying to win a game, a game-winning drive or anything like that, you got Washington later in the season, all those things like that. How do you feel about the offensive line? I think they're heading in the right direction. They got Keonis being out, that hurts the depth a little bit, but overall, how do you feel about Pregnon and Moha and Jonah Maheim and all this and rest of these guys?
Oh, I feel good. I feel good about these guys, honestly. Like if you look at these guys and take them and look at them seriously, like, yeah, Didich has only been the issue, right? The snap problems. He's the only issue that I have, right? Like, let's get that under control. Let's not rush. Calm down. Hear what's going on. And again, like, I don't, like you said, I don't want someone to come back and bite me, right? Because I feel like that will. I feel like it'll come back and bite me. But
I'm worried about it.
I don't want it to, but I feel like it will at some point. But I also feel like I feel like as a full offensive line, though, we're running the ball well. We're giving Caleb the time he needs, right? Because even sometimes, like in the pocket, Caleb was maneuvering the pocket, even though those guys are holding up. You know what I mean? And he's just out there. Then he starts getting backyard footballish, and then all of a sudden we in touchdown, right?
Exactly.
I love what we're doing offensively. I don't feel like there's not a D line in the country that we can't hold up against. And mind you, that's him. That's with the combination of Caleb. I think we're going to learn a lot in South Bend. I think they have a good offensive line. I mean, a good defensive line. So we're going to learn a lot in South Bend before we go to Utah, right? Because we got South Bend. We got a South Bend. We're home against Utah. I'll be at that game, and then we start rolling into the next couple of weeks after that, which November 4th and 11th is Washington at home, Oregon on the 11th. So it's just we're gonna see those defensive lines a little early.
I don't want to disrespect. So, like, I don't want to disrespect Arizona. They're improving. They got a proven defense, but obviously we're going to Notre Dame. I think the biggest issue in the Notre Dame game is for the Irish is, as much as they try to hoist up Hartman, that team doesn't score.
They don't have pieces. So I thought Hartman, because I was a big Hartman fan. I thought Hartman was gonna bring in the pieces. They just don't have the pieces. That's just it. They don't have it
to be explosive.
Right. Exactly. That running back, with the players that we had last year, we dealt with that same running back. Michael Mayer was the winner when we played them last year at home. He was the one killing us, right? I think he went for 155 or something like that. Like, anytime he wanted, the offense, the tight end was getting. But that was our issue last year, the whole year, right? Every decent tight end we saw was killing us.
Yep.
This year, I think we'll be able to stop the run. It's going to be, are we going to hold up on the outsides? Because Hartman's going to make great throws. I take that kid's going to make some great throws that we can definitely count on.
In between the 20s, he's been pretty good in between the 20s, and he was clutch last week against Duke.
Right.
There's something missing from their red zone, from their red zone attack, because they last 2 weeks they played two quality opponents and they didn't score. I think they scored 17 and 21, and the 21 point came with like 2 minutes left which was like with a minute left in the fourth quarter. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully I catch up with you at the Utah game, because I think I might go to that one, even though I had to sit there and watch it in Vegas last year. That was hard to watch.
Yeah,
so that was tough to watch.
Yeah, that was tough.
So let's end it here. You got USC, you got Washington, you got Oregon. I mean, I'm not disrespecting Utah, but like, if you don't have Cam Rising, like, I mean, and then even if Cam Rising came back now, like, it's gonna be hard for them to make a serious push. So, use USC. Pretty much, you look at having to go 2-1 against those two teams, right? Because you got to figure, if you beat them twice, if you go 1-1 in the regular season, you probably got to beat so and so in the championship game.
Yeah, we're gonna have to beat one of these teams twice, whether it be Oregon or whether it be. I believe it's Oregon and Washington. Now, here's the other kicker though. Watch out for Oregon State. Sneaky Oregon State.
So what's their schedule like? And then who are they playing?
That Civil War is going to be the issue.
Well, they beat them last year.
Exactly. So. That's going to be the issue.
Schedule. I just want to before you go, I want to check that schedule real quick, because I watched them. I think DJ made a really good choice. They get Washington at home.
Yeah.
So they could be the spoiler of the whole thing.
Exactly.
And they play Oregon in Oregon, so that Civil War should be interesting. And they play them. Do they play them back to back? They do play them back to back, which is going to be hard.
Right.
Though. Yeah, but yeah, that should be interesting. But the Pac-12 in the last year of its inception has been really fun to watch. Penix and Williams, and all these other quarterbacks have been fantastic.
Nothing short of phenomenal.
And we can't forget about Cam Ward as well up in Washington State.
Right, Cam Ward's playing great.
He's playing great too. So, all right, brother. Thank you for joining us here on the Student Body Right USC podcast. Keep doing your thing. I'll be listening on Twitter Spaces.
Absolutely.
I can't get the X thing out of my. I think.